What's going on, everybody? This is Nick from House of Paint 203, bringing you the third and final installment of the Wyvern series. He has been base coated, he has been washed, and now we are going to be going over him with an applied highlight. We're going to be doing some dry brushing, and we're going to be touching up that surface that he is standing on so we can truly bring this primal cousin of the dragons to terrifying life. Let's jump right in. As always, want to give a special shout out to friend of the show, Dominic Marriott, owner and founder of Critic UK, all the way across the pond in the UK. Dominic is a crafter of dice vaults, dice boxes, dice trays, dice towers, you name it. Dominic makes it, and you got to check his stuff out so that you can up your game at your gaming table as soon as humanly possible. Also, while you're here, be sure to smite like for the video and slam subscribe for the page so that you can be up to date on all the latest projects that I am putting out there. All right, so for the Wyvern, I think I'm going to be going in first with an applied highlight on the larger muscle areas of his body, like his deltoids, his biceps, and pretty much just the muscles in his arm right here before I kind of dive into his wings. The scaly areas around him, I'm going to be doing a dry brush because I think I'll be able to pick that out a little bit better with a dry brush than I would be able to with an applied highlight. For the applied highlight, I'm going to be going back to my original base coat, my original base color, which was heavy skin tone from Vallejo Game Color, and I'm going to be mixing that with rosy highlight from Master Series Paint. And the reason why I'm going to be mixing these two is because I'm worried that going straight up rosy highlight might be too harsh of a transition. So in order to combat that, I'm going to mix that with a little bit of my original base coat so that it's not terribly like in your face. I'm gonna start with like a drop of heavy skin tone mixed with, let's say, 2 drops of rosy highlight. There we go. So my mix that I'm trying at first, and I completely eyeballed it, is 2/3 rosy highlight and 1/3 heavy skin tone. As you can see in the palette, this was the heavy skin tone by itself, and this is the highlight that I'm doing. And then if I want to, I'm going to go in and pick out some areas with pick out some of the higher raised areas and just do a complete rosy highlight on that. So let's see what we got. Yeah. Just picking out the upper areas of the muscles. Nice and easy. And in here I'm just kind of I'm trying to emphasize the detail, but I'm also kind of creating it as I go. I think that's all I want to do back here, because I do want that dry brush to do the work of picking out all the individual scales. All right. While we've got it in the palette, we're going to take our dry brush and go over the scaly areas on his body, and also his wings. Again, for dry brush, we're going to load up our brush, and then we're going to take our paper towel and get everything that we just put on the brush off the brush for the most part, until we have only the faintest little whisper of paint residue. And now let's see, go in here. A lot of detail on these wings, so I'm just gonna kind of go in and start picking it out. This is a subtle highlight. I think I'm definitely gonna go in with the rosy skin by itself at some point. Those highlights on the face. Hit this other wing. Make sure it looks balanced. As you can see, it's subtle, but it definitely picked out the raised areas and underneath the membranes for sure. On the upper portion of the wings, that's where I don't want it to be subtle. I want there to be a definitive highlight up there, so we're gonna go in there and work on that, and then we'll touch up his his belly. Try to bring this highlight out with just a straight up rosy skin. highlight. Rosy skin is very, 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 very pale. So we'll see here what this is able to do. Start off going light, and yeah, right off the bat, I can tell. And this is definitely more pronounced. All right, he is getting there. I think I'm gonna start focusing on his belly now. He has a little base coat. I'm gonna go in here with some khaki. And on his belly as a base coat, I'm gonna go in here with some khaki by Vallejo Game Color. I'm sorry, Vallejo Model Color. I know I've already gone in here with the heavy skin tone, but I want to you know, just create some discrepancy. Trying not to obscure the shade in between the plates there. All right, so now that the belly is done, and excruciatingly so, I'm gonna go in and I think I wanna touch on the horns and the frills behind his head. And I think I'm gonna do that with rosy skin as well to try and keep the color schemes kind of matching. I'm gonna come in here on the belly and start giving the impression of layers. So I'm just going to very thin strokes. So again, just finding little areas on the scales here that, you know, are spaced apart. On this tail, on this part of the tail, it's kind of rigid, so you can kind of see like where the curvature is and all that. But you know, just kind of picking out some spots I'm doing it, but I just feel like I just kind of like the way that this looks, and then we're gonna go over it with another lighter highlight, picking out just certain areas. I kind of want to see what it might look like if I go in on the scales here and give it a little rosy skin highlight. So I'm gonna try that. See if I can make these scales pop. It does look good. And the area around his mouth. Using the side of my brush for this. Maybe up here. And we actually have to do his mouth too, so. His brow. Curve of his bicep here. Again, this is my favorite phase, but it's also the phase that takes the longest. It's all about just how much or how little you want to, you know, kind of put into it. And then we're gonna go back into his belly scales with just a rosy skin. I'm gonna hit it right here. And I might just go and that's it. Maybe just a few. On the curves. I'm gonna get his eyes. Get a little base coat in there of khaki. For his mouth, I think I'm gonna go over the heavy skin tone with a violet ink. Just being super careful. Don't want to obscure any detail. I probably should have did this earlier, but I forgot. All right, the khaki on the eyes should be dry. Gonna hit it now with a fire new orange. There we go. I'm gonna go over the the bones coming out of the wings. I think I'm gonna go, or the claws coming out of the wings. I think I'm gonna go black for this, and for the feet as well. So I'm gonna go with Abyssal Black. It's just a straight up black. It's by the Army Painter. All right, I think I'm gonna go into some of the highlights on the mouth with the rosy highlight that I've been using on the scales. See what else we got. I'm gonna go in and just kind of touch up these little scales so that it looks a little bit more natural. I'm gonna go in here and like in the middle. I mean, it is freehand, but I want it to look natural. I'm gonna get in here on these teeth with some bone white. Here are the teeth. stone. For the stone, I'm going to use heavy blue gray, Vallejo game color. I'm going here with this black wash. We're going to finish up this highlight on the stone that he's standing on by I'm going to be using a stone gray from Vallejo Model Color, and that should wrap him up. All right, thank you for joining me for part 3 of the Wyvern series. This completes the Wyvern series on this channel. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date on all the content that I'm putting out there. Again, I try to release videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I like to break down the projects into the 3 main stages, which are the base coating stage, the washing stage, and the highlighting / dry brushing phase. Information on how to follow me on all my social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, website, are immediately following the video and the credits, and so is the information on how to follow Dominic Marriott of Credit UK. So you're going to want to stick around so you can catch up on all that information, and I'll see you for the next one.